A Life Less Hurried by Ross Pollock of Moss Vale 2577. Narrated by David Tredinnick. One thing about entering one's senior years is the tendency to look back at how things were when we were young. We can have a raft of memories swirling around, some very pleasant and nostalgic, and others perhaps rather sad ones. As we get older, we each have our own views and memories of the past that sometimes we struggle to reconcile with the world we see today, with that of our youth. And that inevitably leads to the observation, haven't things changed? Years ago, American futurist Alvin Toffler wrote a book called Future Shock. In it, he noted, amongst other things, that the sheer pace of a changing society could become so rapid that so much change would actually have a psychological impact on people. I can only wonder what sort of future shock would occur if our grandparents, or perhaps even parents, were able to see the future that is ours today, especially with regards to our pace of life. I recall with some fondness the days of my childhood when life seemed to be at a slower pace. After our family negotiated the Monday to Friday routine, we reached a weekend that consisted of Saturday morning shopping, followed by relatively peaceful Saturday afternoons and Sundays. If I wanted to wander the streets of my hometown, Maryland's, with my dad or mum, it really was window shopping in the traditional sense. A milk bar or fish and chip shop may have been open longer, but after midday Saturday, basically everyone else was closed. My fond memories of those days still run through the tunnels of my thoughts and dreams. My mind's eye sees quite clearly the quiet, relatively leafy streets that featured around our suburb, and simply enjoying the window displays in the shops. Even those weekdays were different. No rush to go out if the milk was running low. It was delivered fresh every morning by the local milko. And bread came fresh every day from the local bakery, originally by a bread vendor who still had a horse and cart when I was knee-high. And yet, we love to refer to stores where we go out to buy these products as convenience stores. Maybe we do not have as much convenience as we think. And here's a revelation. Despite the many advantages of electronic communication, do you remember the old days when companies actually offered service? That is, you could actually walk into a branch in many towns for banking and other services and speak with a person. Today, we consume time and energy trying to locate a human voice to assist us after navigating a seemingly endless number of menu options on the phone. I was a young boy in an age before supermarkets. The corner store was what most people in our area were familiar with. Several corner stores were near our home, carrying all the basic grocery items we would need. Their pace of life seemed relatively relaxed, though no doubt busier behind the scenes, as they always had plenty of time for their customers and even offered the occasional home delivery. The local fruit shop, delicatessen and butcher met our every need for daily sustenance. And this at a time when one would know the owner of the business and engage in general conversation whenever you were in the shop. Even the pace of TV was more relaxed. With much less choice, no Channel 10 in the early 60s, let alone pay TV, our family tended to have its favourite shows. Saturday night was our time to relax and watch Western series like Cheyenne, with a good amount of treats such as chips or chocolates. And there were other favourite shows during the week, such as the quiz shows like BP Pick-a-Box and Cole's $6,000 Question. And the closest thing to soapies were family-oriented shows such as My Three Sons and Father Knows Best. Going out for takeaway food was a rare experience. Apart from fish and chips and the occasional offering of takeaway from a milk bar, dining out was very restrictive. Let's face it, haute cuisine was not the Australian way of life, and eating out at a restaurant was not a regular activity for most families. I awaited more keenly the arrival of our Christmas feast, or more importantly, the Sunday dinner roast. During the week, standard fare was on offer, often the more usual meat and 3 veggies. good discussion around the dinner table was more highly valued than a night out. And even the movies were slower in reaching our main nearby cinemas, such as the Roxy and Astra at Parramatta. That was the day when first-release movies had to run in the major theatres in Sydney before they were released out to suburban theatres. So patience was required, unless you could impose on mum and dad for a trip into town. At least movies were better value when often a double bill was on the program, even if some of the documentary short films on offer were rather tedious. Cattle droving in the Northern Territory, followed by the Canadian rowing team in action, were obviously not planned to excite a 10-year-old. Today, we have so much more. More choices with TV channels, more places to eat out, and infinitely more takeaway options. Many more shops with extended opening hours, and even more cars to choose from. Yet we also appear to have far more people who appear to be more stressed, more relationship breakdowns, more overweight people, and a society at times that seems much more divided and at odds with itself. This, then, is my life lesson. Perhaps if we were to slow down, we just might find time to attend to the really important things in life, such as family and friends, recharging our own batteries, enjoying the sights around us in our great country, and perhaps, just perhaps, even finding time to understand other people's opinions. The end.